You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
All right, folks, welcome back. Another episode of No Seats podcast. Before we get into it, as always, we're going to talk about Emprise Bank. You can open an account with Emprise in less than 5 minutes. The savings just start there, though. Emprise is a trusted partner with a variety of products and services to help you achieve your goals. Don't be tethered to a brick building. Start a meaningful relationship with a bank that has your best in mind. So shout out Emprise as always, but we got to get into, we're a week off one of our biggest episodes ever, one that, people are still pumped about, but it's very funny. We spent 4 years trying to get Devonte Graham on this pod, and here we are. He's back for a part 2, the second time in like 6 days. He just had that much fun. We're pumped to have you back. We're going to try and get into some more fun, maybe like behind the scenes stories if we can today. So, how you been, Devonte? What was the reaction to you being on the pod? Did you enjoy it? Was it, clearly you don't hate us because you're back.
No, yeah, definitely enjoying it, man, for sure. Part 2, of course, I wanted to, whatever y'all wanted to talk about was cool. I had to go to a little dinner last week, so I had to kind of cut it short, but was enjoying myself, so just came back.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit previously, just maybe about stories or just anything I guess fans wouldn't know about you. And you mentioned potentially transferring your freshman year at KU, which is wild to think about after you became one of the most loved Jayhawks ever and so successful at KU. So can you kind of touch on that a little bit?
It's kind of funny. It's I think I told this story one time at one of the fantasy camps we had, where like all the older guys come back and they live out their KU dreams and they go to Coach Self, stuff like that. So we was at Coach Self house and I was just thinking, they asked me, do I have a funny story? I told them I thought about transferring one time. We had to do boot camp and we had the Marines come. So all of this ties into all that, me being the leader and this and that and the third. But long story short, we had to be at the pool at 4:15 in the morning. Bro, we were in the pool from 4:30 to 7:15. Just doing different Marine activities. I had to be a leader and jump in the pool at the same time, get out, do push-ups, sit-ups at the same time. If one person was off beat, off track, he had to start all the way over. And to end it, everybody had to get in the pool 15 feet of water. Mind you, everybody couldn't swim. So you got guys like Jamari Traylor, Cliff Alexander, Wade. Everybody who's 6'7" and above, 245 pounds, can't swim. But we had to be off the edge. And I remember him partnering people up. And Coach Self, he put me and Tyler with Cliff. Biggest guy out there. But he had put Tyler first. So I was just thinking to myself, I was just like, yo, if he don't care about his own son's life, he definitely don't care about me. I got to get out of it. I can't. Cliff is by the law. And then 2 people later, he done put me with Cliff. So me and Tyler had to hold Cliff up in 15 feet of water. Cliff ends up almost drowning me. And thank God we ended up surviving. But, bro, it was the craziest. I just remember leaving bro, this man, he doesn't care about me, bro. He is not.
Cliff, the fact that did anybody transfer after that? I can't imagine Cliff Alexander handled that very well.
Hey, everybody struggled with that one, bro. Especially him, Jamari. Jamari was he struggled big time in that. Y'all need to ask him about that. He got called.
Wait, what did you say? You cut out there.
I think he got called a lot of names.
I know.
Well, let's stick on the topic of boot camp because we also discussed about your senior year boot camp. So I guess talk about that compared to your freshman year boot camp.
It's all, each one of them is tough, but you kind of get used to, what to expect, and you get it. So my senior year, I'm feeling kind of arrogant. I'm like, okay, this is my senior year. Boot camp breeze for me. I kind of I already know what's gonna happen, what to do. And the first day, I probably didn't prepare as well as I should have. Like, got in shape as good as I should have. So the first day of boot camp, like, we're looking and like we're not talking because we're tired. Nobody can communicate with each other. Like, guys are being lazy. I'm sprinting, doing the drills, and next thing I know, I just feel like I just got thrown up. Like, my first time ever, like, so I just ran to the trash can, and I'm throwing up in the trash can. Year 4 of boot camp, never thrown up one. And Coach Selton was like, at the end, like, this is embarrassing. I can't believe that y'all even like come like this. You had no intensity. He was like, come back again at 5 p.m. And we were all like, what? Like, 2 boot camps in one day. Crazy. That was the first time ever.
Oh my God.
I've heard about it, but that was the first time we had ever did that. So we had 2 boot camps one day. My first
You
year.
were probably at the Hawk the night before your senior year boot camp. Like, you were just like, this is gonna be easy. It's gonna be nothing. And
To be honest, I probably was somewhere else. Or either Saturday, probably went out and it was a rest day. It ended up not like as I thought it was.
so I'm thinking of back to that story you told about like the Marines and Cliff Alexander and stuff, and it hit me that Spee would have been there, right? That was Spee's first year. You guys came in together. So Spee would have been like 16 years old, right? Wasn't he crazy young? Like, I think that was some feedback I got from some people that listen to this pod. They were like, we got to hear more about like Devonte and Spee's relationship. So I think that's a good place to start. Like, how do you think Spee handled the transition from, he comes to KU, young kid, younger than everybody, and you guys just kind of became like best friends, and your story over your career was obviously just very entertaining. There's stories there, but just talk about your relationship with Spee throughout your time at KU.
I mean, obviously everybody know we got one. Like, that would be my guy. Pick somebody I use at KU just because. But yeah, when Spee first got there, bro, he didn't know English. Like, he knew probably like a good 3 words. Like, I'm going to the. That's all he was. I'm going to the gym. I was like, come on, let's go out tonight. Let's hang out with the guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's try to bond with the older guy. I'm going to the gym. He would go put up shots every night. This is a true fact. He would go to the gym and put up 1,000 shots every single night. Like, I had never seen quite like that at our age. Like, he was 16. 16 or 17, but all he knew was gym. But I know that transition for him was probably, I can't describe it. Like, I couldn't imagine going to another country and not knowing the language. Then camp was the first thing I got to go and do. But nah, bro, that's like my brother. Like, we can go months without talking, and it's like we never missed a beat. Like, I was just off with him the other day.
Yeah, we got to get him on the pod because I mean, obviously he seems like a funny dude. I don't know. B-Turn, I know there were stories you wanted to bring up about Spee. Are you gonna ask Devonte about that one?
Yeah, so I know we talked about the Black Friday story, which is something you put on your social media at once, and then you talked about his little obsession with candy. So touch on any of those or just any stories you can think of, just because your guys' relationship was so great.
Well, his first obsession ever, I don't know if they had pizza or not in Ukraine, or it wasn't allowed to eat pizza or what, but all he ate was pizza when he first got to school. He had literally, I think, like a 5-foot stack behind his door, like from him just eating pizza every day. He would just put the empty box back behind his door. But you can't just eat pizza every day, bro. Like, it's much more out there. Like, he was like, "Well, I get hamburger, pizza and hamburger. Switch it up." He was like, and then his candy obsession was crazy. Like, I know he had probably at least 4 teeth falling out while he was in college.
But they were probably were they telling him to like? I mean, they probably wanted him to get bigger, so he's probably sitting there like, okay, candy pizza. This is how you get big. Like I'm doing it right.
No, I think he found something that he liked, and he just a creature of habit, I guess. So he just stick with what he know. Like he's not gonna go try nothing. Maybe now though, but back then he was definitely just on that same regimen.
I love it. So, all right. So obviously you don't transfer. Thank God. We know we went through your whole career last time about how good of a decision you made to stay. Man, we were talking. Me and Beecham were talking a little bit. We never really got into kind of the Big 12 streak in that storyline while you were there, because you were a big part of that. You were right in the middle. Actually, I guess kind of near the end. But like 2015, it became a popular thing. Every year KU started off, if they didn't start off hot in the Big 12, it was, this is the year the streak ends. I remember 2015, I think 2018, Seth Davis from CBS or whatever was like, this is the year the Kansas isn't winning the Big 12. It's not happening this year. And every year you found a way. In 2018, I think was the one where you guys probably had to overcome the most. But how much how much pride did you take in not being the team that lost that streak throughout your time at KU?
A bunch of pride, man. That was all it was. That's all. Like Coach Self really wouldn't talk to us about it. You guys can't lose it. You guys, he would bring up, because obviously he had in the media and stuff like that. So he would be like, I know you guys are seeing it in the media. He was like, let's not focus on the streak. Like, to be honest, he would act like he didn't care about the streak, which everybody helped him a lot. But I think that was his way of kind of like calming us down and making us feel like, it's not all on our shoulders. But as the players and as a team, like we all would always come together. Like, there's no way like we gonna be that team that lose the streak. And I think my senior year was definitely one of the toughest. Losing at home, like back to back. I think definitely when it got in the media, when I had some interview after the reporters asking me, do you think this is gonna be the team that loses it? And it was just real disrespectful to the point where, because like, bro, we done did it 13 years in a row, so it's like, how many years do we have to do it for y'all to be like, okay, well, Kansas is gonna keep winning it? But when we ended up winning it my senior year, I just it was a lot of relief, and I knew we was gonna do it. I said it in the interview. So
yeah, I think that was the one of the games that really sticks out to me from senior year was the game in Lubbock against Texas Tech, where you were just insane down the stretch. Somehow made a shot in the lane. I think it went off the backboard, spun around the rim, goes in. So I guess how much does that game stick with you now?
It's always gonna stick with me, bro. When you clinch, and people didn't think you were gonna do it. It's just overcoming. Like, okay, now what? Like, cause we did it. So now what y'all got to say? And it was a whole bunch of people that was, counting us out. Obviously not KU fans. KU fans always go, rock with the team and stuff like that. So, just that performance and my teammates and how we prepared for that game. Everybody was super locked in. The environment was crazy, and came out and we did what we were supposed to do.
So yeah, I guess speaking of like crazy atmospheres, then I know everyone talks about Lubbock not being on an Allen Fieldhouse level, but one of the best atmospheres in the country. How would you compare a Lubbock compared to like Manhattan when they're playing against KU?
I always say I think you got to go K-State, and then it's like West Virginia, Iowa State are definitely,
yeah.
While I was like number 2, but K-State is only good when we play there. So I I don't really count that. Like, it's the crap. No disrespect, but disrespect. Because if I'm watching the game and they playing Baylor, it's like I can see the emptiness in the arena. So they kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like Iowa State is always consistent. So I can say the same about Lubbock, but West Virginia was a very, very tough place to play. I think I won once there.
Yeah, I think that's another wild game from senior year was that game in Morgantown where it felt like you guys just couldn't cut the deficit, and then UNSV kind of took over, and that was kind of the birth of Grandma Graham behind the bench showing the jersey. So yeah, that game was legendary. So that was your only win in Morgantown, I guess. And then yeah, I guess your grandma was going crazy, so that was a special moment in Morgantown.
And Mom, shout out Grandma. She still called herself literally that. She called herself.
I love it. She's a legend.
Yeah.
So we
speaking of Grandma, a funny story about Grandma. So I'm ducking and dodging my family because they come out. It's like 20 of them. So I'm telling them to go to Brothers, the bar.
Yeah.
My teammates, we went to the cave.
Oh my God.
The cave. We had just left Brothers, went to the cave. So my family come. It's a long line. It's a long line at Brothers. My grandma goes to the front. And he tells the guy, like, I'm looking for Devonte. He like, Devonte who? It's like, Devonte Graham. And he was like, oh, you his grandma. Oh, come on in, skip it out. Who you with? And they just let my grandma and all my family get all the line and go into the front. And I'll be not there. I wasn't there. Like, where you at? I was like, I just got to the cave. I swear, within 10 minutes, my whole family has somehow got from Brothers to the cave through that line as well without them get them just from my grandma's name. Like my grandma, I was out there.
You got to be, nobody's saying no to Grandma. Like she ran that city, I'm sure. Like it's her, Bill Self, and that's about it. Like those are the people running Lawrence.
I was getting love during that time, for real.
That's amazing. So we talked about, like the road games and at Tech and at K-State, and we talked home games last time, Allen Fieldhouse. You seemed like a guy that really thrived on kind of like hitting that shot that silenced crowds. Like that, I felt like you lived for that moment. Is that something you've always had, like even in high school or over time throughout your time at Kansas? Because you guys get a lot of hate. You're Kansas, you go on the road, you're everyone's biggest target. Like, did that become something you just like almost looked forward to more than even playing at Allen Fieldhouse?
I think Rolo is, I wouldn't say a lot more fun than playing at Allen Fieldhouse, because once we get that mode and the crowd is going crazy, it's nothing like it. But I just know, like, when you got everybody against you, and like you said, you're making them big time shots, you're making them big time plays, the right passes, and like, shutting the crowd up. I think that's a lot. I think editor, that's a lot more fun. We expect to win when we at Allen Fieldhouse. Coach Self actually get mad when we have to make the crowd like go crazy just for us to play. Like he was like, "You guys be pumped up just to be in here. You shouldn't have to have the crowd go crazy," stuff like that. So, which is understandable, but yeah, I think it's more. It's a little bit more fun doing it on that.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, let's take a quick break and we'll come back and talk. Who knows? We'll get to something else. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
All right, we're back. So, all right, we've talked a lot about your time at Kansas and B-Turn, if you have.
Yeah, let's go one more thing. Just because Devonte, like, it's no secret how much you love KU. It's no secret how much the fans love you too. So I've always wondered with you, like, when did you first realize how special of a place KU was? I feel like everyone knows how great KU is, but until you get there, you don't truly know. So, like, what are some moments that truly made you realize how special Lawrence and KU is?
I mean, I think we just first get there, and to be honest, like, obviously, when you're a recruit and you're going on these visits, like you said, it's hard to determine, like, okay, well, because everybody is telling you kind of the same spiel, you know, family oriented, and we'll love to have you, and you'll fit well, and this and that, and the third. But, like, you can kind of feel it when as soon as you step on campus, and you do your first, whenever we do camp, or if the little kids come in and they already know who you are, and they already got your pictures and your cards for you to sign and stuff like that with your face on it and stuff like that. And I think, what was it? I would say when I knew it was special. That's a hard one, bro. That's a hard question.
Tough question, Beecher.
I feel like everything about it was special from the start. Like, it wasn't just one specific thing. Like, I mean, meeting Coach Self and the family, to being with the fans and interacting with people on the streets. I had a grown man cry one day when he met me. I was like, oh man, these fans are like, this is like a 40, 50-year-old man crying just because he's meeting me, and he's like, yo, can we take a picture? I'm like, yeah. It's like, okay, this place means a lot to, is more than what I know. So it's like, put your thumbprint on one thing.
Yeah, I don't know how much you get on Twitter these days, but we tweeted out the episode and all that stuff, and the feedback was just incredible. Like, the replies, just people posting pictures that you took with their kids or taking time out just to have even a conversation with a kid. And there's a ton of pictures and videos, but I didn't know, was there ever a moment where you sat back or a specific moment, I guess, where you sat back and were like, damn, these fans like truly love me and embrace me?
Not necessarily. I remember after senior night, I remember crying because I was gonna miss it. Like, at the time, my girlfriend, after the senior night game, I drove to her house, and before I had got out, man, I just was like reflecting on like all my time at KU and never being able to play in the Allen Fieldhouse again, and running out the tunnel and the fans. And I was like literally sitting in the car crying before I had went in the house. But it was like a good feeling. It was like a happy cry. Like, you know, I actually came here and made a mark and an impact at this school. And it was special. So,
well, yeah, I guess let's get into, senior night just for a little bit. I know we might have talked about it last episode, but obviously, like you said, it was super emotional. And everyone knew you and Bill had a great relationship. Like, Bill was obsessed with you. When he really loves a player, he loves them. But I think that night really showed people how close you guys were, how much you cared about him and how he cared about you. So can you kind of touch just on your relationship with him and how much he means to you?
Yeah, man. Me and Coach Self, like, we was rocking from day one. Obviously he's a tough guy to be around, to be coached, like, certain people, and you gotta, you know, be mentally strong to be able to play at KU and be coached. I mean, all the coaches really. But like, our relationship was, and like you said, you see it in the senior speech when I started crying. Y'all don't want me to start crying up here.
That's the whole goal.
Oh man, he was like a father figure. You feel me? Like, he taught me so much. Like I said, he made me the leader I am today. He made me, like, I was already outgoing, but he made me realize, you know, like, everything is bigger than you. Like, Kansas it goes way beyond just you being here and playing. Or like, you learn different lessons from being here, the way you treat people. uh, the way you work, just being on time. It goes a long way with. Once you leave here, you're gonna have to get a job, or you will go to the NBA, and if you're late, you get cut. You're late. All you gotta do is run the suicide. So it's like different. I was like, what I'm saying, that he just teach you, and just the way he like made you feel like a part of his family, and like I said, like a son, man. It's like you raised me. So
yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry, I've asked like 8 questions in a row, and I want to ask this, and then and then we get into the NBA stuff. And this might be a tough question to answer again, but why? Like, what do you think makes Bill so good at developing point guards? I know, obviously, you got Frank, Tyshawn, Sharon, Devon Dotson. Like, what does he do? Like, does he press certain buttons? I know players always talk about how Bill can get guys to do certain things. I know he can say shit to piss you off and get you fired up and motivated. So what makes him so good at developing players?
I think is one, he obviously knows what he's doing, how you say people going. 2, I think it's the offense and kind of the style that he played. When I was there was a lot of pick and roll. So like in practice and the games is identical. Like we're going through all this pick and roll stuff, different reads, coming off, making different passes. You know what I'm saying? Running if you make the wrong pass, like, you know what I'm saying? Because watching a lot of film too, we watch so much film. We had to be one of the number one teams that watch film. It was like, especially bad film, bad days.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Even practice, like we watch practice film, and like he would get so mad at film that we would go into everybody just go. We would leave film straight to the line and just start running. So it was like you learn. Yeah, you gotta learn. If you don't learn, that's just all.
I'm picturing Bill Self making a full tape of Brandon Green playing defense. BG, what are you doing?
Sometimes single people out like.
I remember during COVID when like things were shut down and Bill did that series where he would sit down and watch film and like comment on it as he was going, like old classic KU games. And I remember just being so mind blown at the little things he noticed. Like obviously we're not going to see as much as Bill Self. He's like one of the best basketball minds out there, but I really could not believe, and I can't imagine being a player that, just a little tiny mistake off the ball that nobody's paying attention to, Bill was pointing out. Like, was that constantly? That's got to be part of the reason everyone just buys in and gets so good under him, is because that's always got to be in the back of your mind. Like, even this little mistake, Bill's going to call me on it.
One thing he would always tell us, he was like, you can't get away with anything. Like in practice, and if you do get away with it in the game, I'm gonna see it on film. So it's like for practice, he stands like at half court and he's watching, and even though the ball is on this side of the court and everybody's watching this, he can see what's going on both sides, all 10 players at the same time. So when the play ends, he's telling us who messed up on offense and who messed up on the whole other side on defense. So it's like most people can only watch one half of the court, which is where the ball is at, and like his mind is built different to where he can see all 10 players at the same time. So it's like it's crazy.
It's always blown my mind, and even I can't remember who we were talking to this about, B-Turn, but like Norm Roberts stepped in for Bill when Bill had his health issue this March, and Norm was obviously great. Everybody loves Norm Roberts. Nobody's got a bad thing to say about Norm, but it just even felt like and this is not a good question. You're not going to know the answer to this, but like the fact that how does Bill get so locked in and get so much different buy-in from guys? Not that those guys weren't bought into Norm, but like, did you just sense, like, were the other coaches like that, or did Bill just kind of have like another level above them where he was way more locked in, or did they all notice those little things?
They probably all do. I would say so, but obviously they're not the ones as head coach. You know what I'm saying? That's why he got him on staff, because I know for a fact that they all, like, I've seen the work that they all be putting in, and they be in film before we be in film. So I know for a fact that they all got that same, you know what I'm saying, instinct, right? Not as a bigger magnitude as Coach Self does, but they all got it for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Honestly, I feel like we never talk about the assistants much, right? The players. So I know, like Coach T, for example, that feels like a guy that every senior night, every player's like, Coach T's the funniest guy ever. Coach T needs his own reality TV show or something. So I guess, can you touch on your relationship, maybe even with him or some of the other assistants?
Yeah, Coach T is one of the funniest guys out, man. Like, he's like the class clown of the coaches. So, like, it's like, even when somebody's in trouble, like, he's over here making a joke about it. And then it's like he's just never, he's sometimes serious, but when he's serious, it's kind of, you be like, hold on, wait, okay, you're serious now, let me lock in. But
Yeah,
it's always joking so much. Coach Rob, you don't want to see Coach Rob angry, I tell you that. Coach Rob is one of the funny guys too, but he's more the laid back. But when he gets angry, like, it's like when your mom call your full name, it's like one of those. But Coach Q, everybody know Coach Q, one of the most kind, gentle guys out there, man. He says quotes. I think he's been sending me positivity quotes since I left Kansas.
one at like 4 a.m.
No,
He's working out.
like 7 a.m. He said me, my mom, and my grandma, they got us in a group chat, and he sends us like the positivity quotes and stuff like that to this day, bro. Like every Monday, he says positivity quotes.
It's crazy. I've never seen that guy angry. Like, never seen that guy say a negative thing. Like, I know people talk positivity all the time, but nobody can say they're more positive. You might be just as positive, but there's nobody on planet Earth more positive than that guy. It's crazy.
Not. I haven't met him.
So let's we got one more break here, and then we're gonna wrap up. I want to talk about like your NBA and what you're up to now and all that. So we'll be right back here.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
All right. So this was definitely a part we wanted to get into last time. It just did not have time, but I think this is part of what makes your story. I mean, your KU story is amazing, but what's happened since you left KU is also amazing, because I don't know. I mean, maybe you did, but to me, like, when you were in high school, probably your junior, senior year, maybe even freshman year at KU, was doing what you've been able to do in the NBA, something that I mean, obviously it's a goal, but like, did you ever see yourself getting to this level of success in the NBA, making, you know, the money you've made in the NBA and the impact you've made? Like, is that something that even almost you've surprised yourself with?
Well, definitely. I feel like it's kind of been like that for every step of, you know, whatever career I'm at, whatever segment of my life I've been at, you know what I'm saying, whether it was high school, and then college. Obviously, you know, I didn't expect to have the career I had in Kansas. But I remember one day, like, I was kind of getting complacent because I was in Kansas and, you know, I was hooping. It was my sophomore year, and it was out of the year. And I remember, like, my sister dad and my stepfather was like, he was like, so are you just gonna be content with, you know, okay, you made it, everybody loves you at Kansas, you know, people in North Carolina, you know, everybody's hyped that you're playing good, you know, are you just gonna be another guy who went to college and didn't do nothing afterwards? Or, like, are you gonna actually try to, you know, make something special out of this? Because obviously you see the hype, people NBA talking and it's like, so you really could do it. So I think that was one thing that kind of stuck with me, like, all right, maybe, you know, I really can do this, and I shouldn't be getting complacent and keep working and just keep grinding, put my head down, and let's see what happens. So I think that's kind of in my mindset, especially when I got to the NBA. Like, okay, now you're here. You know, did your rookie year and got that under your belt. You know what it's like. All right, Kemba's leaving. All right, let's see what can happen. So,
Yeah.
and that's sophomore year came and kind of went the same route and hooping, and so see what happens.
Yeah, so that's definitely something we've wanted to talk about is your second year there in Charlotte, and it was wild. It was like a nightly thing on Twitter with KU fans where Devonte's just hitting big shots. I remember your game in the Garden. So yeah, just talking about that year and how much fun you had, and then we have to talk about Eric Collins, the Hornets announcer, we just love him. He's in the football games, just screaming Devonte, going nuts. So yeah, talk about your second year in the league, how much fun that was, and then did you guys ever discuss him at all, Eric Collins?
I mean, obviously my family and people around me, but nah, he was always great, always, fun and excited to be around. When I even go back now with different teams and stuff like that, it's always good to see him. And when he be talking on the game, my mom and him told me they always have nothing but good things to say about me. So shout out to him. But no, my second year was fun, man. It was a good time. I remember, what was it? I was coming off the bench in the first 15 games of the season. And my PD coach at the time, my player development coach, his name was Nate Mitchell. And he used to always tell me, he used to be like, yo, you got a similar game to Dame Lillard. Like, you could play like Dame. Like, in this offense, you could do this, that, the third. So it would be times where I'm bringing the ball over the half court line, and he would pause the clip. It's like 1 or 2 steps over half court line. He's like, "Are you open?" And I'm looking at him like, "Yeah, who's thinking somebody? I'm not Steph or you know what I'm saying, Trey Young shooting from half court every time across the court, so nobody's guarding me at the half court line." But he was like, "Well, shoot it." I'm thinking, I'm like, either he's trying to sabotage me or he really want me to ball. Like, I'm like, but I said to him, "Bro, you trying to have me on the bench? Like, no way I'm coming over half court pulling." But it started to get to the point where I would have to actually take some of those shots late at the clock, and I would come off the screen, I'd be open, and I was shooting, and I was knocking them down. So then it kind of gave me that confidence to start playing a little more freely. And that's really what it was all about. My second year was playing with confidence, being able to get those minutes, staying healthy. And yeah, it was definitely, obviously, my best year as a pro.
Yeah, and so what I love about it is it led to, I think you've talked about this before. Your mom was 14 when she had you. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so you get to the NBA, obviously that's a huge accomplishment in itself. But what I love about it is because of that year in Charlotte, you end up getting a fat contract. I don't even know the exact numbers, but a lot of money, and really money that, can truly set up not only you really well for the rest of your life, but also your family, your mom, your sister, your grandma. You set up them for financial success for the rest of their lives. So was it during that year in Charlotte where you kind of, I'm sure you're talking to your agent and stuff, but when did it start to occur to you whoa, I can take this from already being pretty financially stable to, wow, this could turn into generational type contract that will set us up for a long, long time?
I mean, obviously after that year, numbers that I had, and going to the rookie versus sophomore game and stuff like that. Then COVID had happened. So then at the beginning of my junior year, my contract year coming up, it was like, okay, well, just gotta have a solid year this year. You know what I'm saying? No major injuries, which that's not really what in my mind, but that's just, now thinking back, that's really what it was. Just have a solid year. You know what I'm saying? average double-digit points, whatever, how many assists, 5+ assists, and, here you get however much. So that's really what it was. And, you thank God for, because I've seen people who go into their contract and contract get hurt and not be able to get paid. And so it's just a whole bunch of stuff with that. It was definitely, thank God for that.
I mean, that whole, just looking back still, that whole year was just wild. It was such a huge topic within KU, just within KU fans. Like, you're looking at stats every night and you see Devonte near the top of assists, like 3-pointers. You end up making the 3-point contest, obviously, but did you shock yourself that year? I know you knew you had to have a pretty solid year, like you just said, but did you kind of shock yourself with that big of a year?
A sophomore year?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Because I was expecting, coming off the bench, and then a couple guys got hurt, and then I ended up starting, and then I was averaging like 20 my first 4 or 5 starts, and the next thing you know, I just started the rest of the season, and I think it was at one point I was shooting at least 12 threes a game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's.
I mean, were you even doing that in high school? Like, that
wasn't even shooting the ball like that. Like, people used to have to tell me to shoot the ball in high school. That's the crazy part about it. Like, if you could hear some of the stories that people used to tell me, like, you would not shoot the ball until like my senior year. That's really when I started kind of like trying to be a scorer. I used to always want to be a point guard, but yeah, nowadays you can tell obviously every point guard is a true guard now.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the 3-point contest, and obviously All-Star Weekend. It's pretty relaxed, free weekend. Everyone's chilling, having fun. I guess was that the case for you going into the 3-point contest? And then you were in the Rising Stars game too, right? So going into those, was there any nerves at all, or are you just loose and free?
Did you see me in a 3-point contest? I was nervous.
Actually, watched it with Chris. I watched it with Chris.
Huh?
I watched it with Chris at Johnny's, Johnny South, and he had money on you winning the 3-point contest.
What did they call my name and stand up? My whole body just started shaking. I was like, oh my God, what the N? And then I put my hands on the ball, and I think my first shot was an air ball. I'm like, one of them hit the side on the backboard, but it was cool. It was great, bro. That was a great experience. I'm not going to lie, but I was so nervous. Like, it was just me on the court in front of the whole gym. Like, that's different than 10 people being on the court in front of them. You know, nervous, but no, All-Star Weekend was a blast. My family had fun, all the events. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had Jordan events and stuff like that for the Jordan players where all of us go and hang out and chill. It was a smooth weekend, breakfast stuff. So it was top 5.
That was going to be my other question about Charlotte. Is obviously you grew up in North Carolina. You like UNC growing up. Did you have many interactions with Michael and Charlotte?
No. Oh, yeah. I thought you were saying growing up. No, I ain't growing up. It's Charlotte for stuff. I mean, my first interaction with him, obviously, he's in the room and know who we drafted and stuff like that, but I'm not thinking that Mike is gonna know who I am, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking he just over the team, and you might see him once in a while. I walk into the gym, and as I'm turning a corner, I see him, and I think that's the only time I've ever been starstruck. Like, I've seen LeBron and all these other players and all, you know what I'm saying, actresses and actors, and I seen MJ, and I was just like, whoa, this be MJ, like, it's crazy. And he was like, what up, Devonte? And I was like, oh, and he know my name. Asked me how much for me to get a haircut, because y'all know I had to. But how much it cost you to cut your hair? Should have told him a couple million. Right when they gave it to me. But yeah,
that's the funny thing about Mike. I feel like he's always been a straight up honest dude, and will just say whatever to anyone. And he still wears like the baggy jeans. He's never changed. It's so funny to me.
You'll be yourself for sure.
Yeah. Well, so to kind of finish this all up, we were actually talking earlier, and we asked Keith Langford about this. Well, we asked him a variation of this. We asked him who he thought would be potentially the next Kansas head coach. That's not what I'm asking you. What I'm asking you is, like, if when your NBA career is over and you've got the rest of your life ahead of you, are you someone that views yourself going the coaching route? Because that's kind of what, Keith Langford was thinking for himself. But you obviously, I could see you on like NBA TNT with, Shaq and Charles and having a segment there. Like, I mean, your personality puts you in a spot where you can do that type of stuff. Have you even started thinking about, 10, 15, 20, I don't know, years down the road when you...
I've thought about both actually.
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't want to coach in the NBA. I don't think I would want to coach in the NBA, be a coach in the NBA, but definitely like more like college, high school, younger guys. I don't know about college now that all these guys are getting paid, so it's kind of like the NBA. I don't know. Well, these people, they think they don't think right, but I could be on TV for sure, man. You know me, I might come on. Ain't never know. Y'all might be that blew up big time. Y'all might need that.
Oh, third host. That's what we need. In 15 years, we'll wait.
I wanted to talk about something special that happens every year, and I think this will be the next time KU fans will get to see you, or one of the next times, is round ball. And just talking about the cause, I was with Brian Haney the other night, just talking about how the cause is so amazing. Like, I've shed tears there with the kids. I remember the year when they talked about Ben McLemore's brother passing away, so that was like a super emotional night. So can you touch on round ball? And just talk about the cause and where it's going to be, and I guess how fans can find you.
Round ball, one of my favorite events, man. Brian, he literally, a video this morning, he was, I guess he was at the airport, and one of the girls, she's not in round ball, but she's like a huge KU fan. Her name is Amanda. And it's like her and mother's been showing me love. Every time I see him when I was in school, I used to go up and hug him at the games, at the women's game. So they come and support round ball. And it's just a special time and event, to raise money for these families. And I'll definitely be there. I literally move whatever is going on so that I can come there. And Brian, he always takes care of me and, make sure that I can make it. It's fun. It keeps you, kind of grounded and level, because we always think we're going through some major in our life, when in reality it's really not that big compared to what some of these kids and some of these families be going through, man. So it'd be a special event, just being there and a kid being able to smile and give me a hug. It just makes you feel good about yourself and just do that for somebody.
Yeah, so I want to tell people how they can get tickets and be able to go and see the former players. So you can get tickets at 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence. You can get them at the Johnny's in Topeka off Fairlawn and Jefferson's. Jefferson's in Lenexa off 87th, and then you can get them at the Johnny's Tavern off K10 in Ridgeview, and the Johnny's Tavern in Power and Light. So everyone get tickets, come see these former players for a great cause. We can see Svi versus Devonte. Tyshawn, Sharon, other big names will be there.
I can't play in the game this year. I had surgery.
Okay.
I had throat surgery three and a half weeks ago. So unfortunately I cannot play this year, but I will be there.
Yeah, so come see Devonte. You guys get autographs, take pictures, and it's such a great cause, and there's gonna be a lot of great Jayhawks there. So yeah, everyone go get tickets, pull up to round ball, support something great. Yeah, Brian Haney's awesome. He's such a good guy, genuine.
I mean, we talked about Coach, God, I'm forgetting his last name, the most positive guy in the world. Coach Q. He's positive, but Brian Haney's like right up there with him. Like those two dudes, I can't imagine those two dudes in a room together just like having a just saying positive things all day. Like those two just never say a negative thing. So yeah, support Brian Haney. That's a good dude. Dude loves KU, and what he's doing there is really cool. So, all right, well, this was good. I think we got everything else we wanted from the first one that we weren't able to get in. So, I mean,
unless you want to talk jersey retirement, but we can touch on that someday. I know you're going to get your jersey retired someday at Allen, so I think that'll be a super emotional night. I don't know if it'll compare to senior night where you're bawling your eyes out because you love Bill Self and KU fans so much, but I guess I don't know what we can say, but that's going to be an awesome, awesome day, the day your name goes up in the rafters next to some legends.
For sure. Yeah, it'll be definitely a very special night for sure.
Love it. Well, all right, man. We appreciate it so much for coming on. We know the fans loved this. They wanted to hear from you. They've been asking for years now. So we made it happen. Shout out to the legend Cardizzi. The fourth member Ain't No Seats. And yeah, good luck with everything coming up. Get healthy and keep killing in the league.
Appreciate you, brothers. Y'all boys be rock chalk.
Thanks for watching this production of KC Sports Network, the fastest growing sports media network in Kansas City. Check out these videos that feature our team of more than 15 former players, insiders, and analysts bringing you the best Chiefs coverage you can find. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.